Welcome back. Now, without wasting time, let's go through the various videos, and then later on, the discussion part, I'll post another summarized video for all these examination methods. Okay, so let's start with the second abdominal examination video, and rest of the things was same. So let's start.
My previous video, to determine the liver span or if it is a hepatomegaly or a pseudohepatomegaly, we'll start feeling for the upper border. In the previous video we felt for the lower border of the liver. Now we feel for the upper border. Now the upper border of the liver, since it's being a retrosternal organ, it is not able to feel. So it is done by percussion method. We'll start palpating from the T2, that is the manubrial sternal joint. T2 level, the second intercostal space, we'll start percussing it from above downwards in every space. Normally a liver is present in the sixth intercostal space. Now in case of a lung pathology or a liver pathology, see, now as soon as I reach the sixth intercostal space, I can feel the dull sound. That is the dullness of the liver from here. Now I'll keep on continuing going down from here till I go till the ribs are finished. So what does this
Is along the mid-axillary line.
This is full dullness, that is, it is the expand of the liver. Now liver span normally extends from 7 to 11 centimeters. In case I feel the dullness is below the sixth intercostal space, that means due to a lung pathology or due to pathologies like I told, abdominal pathologies like Chilaiditi syndrome or subphrenic abscess, the liver is pushed downwards. Now if the liver is pushed downwards, naturally a span of 7 to 11 centimeters, it will be present subcostally, and it is a true hepatomegaly. It is a pseudohepatomegaly. But in cases where, like in this case, it is getting palpated, it is getting percussed from the sixth intercostal space, and it is not present subcostally, that is a true liver span. Now in the next video, I'll be discussing more idea about the spleen.
Okay. Now, the second video will quickly go through the various videos, and whatever questions that may arise in your mind, we can discuss it later on. So next video.
We will be discussing about the spleen. The spleen is situated in the left hypochondriac region behind the 9th, 10th and 11th ribs, with the long axis of the spleen lying along the 10th rib. So when palpating for the spleen, a spleen is not normally palpated. It is only palpated if it is 3 times more than its normal size. Spleen has attachments of gastrosplenic ligament and linorenal ligament. The linorenal ligament attaches the spleen to the posterior abdominal wall and also to the kidney, whereas gastrosplenic ligament is attaches to the greater omentum to the spleen. Now these ligaments prevent a spleen from getting enlarged. Hence the spleen enlarges only in the direction towards the umbilicus. Therefore, we are able to palpate only if it is 3 times the normal size or greater than that. So how do we palpate the spleen? Palpation for the spleen is done in 3 methods. You can either start from the right iliac fossa, the left iliac fossa, or what is known as the hooking method. Now first we'll start with the right iliac fossa. For the right iliac fossa, we'll keep our left hand behind the subcostal region with a firm pressure on the left hand. We'll start palpating from the right iliac fossa towards the umbilicus in a circular fashion every time the patient expires. This helps us to go deeper. It is not insinuation or pointing the fingers inside. It is a palpation just so that we can able to feel a firm mass. Now if I am not able in this method, the spleen enlarges in this side, but sometimes because of the mass I am able to feel it from the left intercostal iliac fossa as well. So I'll start palpating from the left iliac fossa upwards. This is the second method of palpating a spleen. This way we can feel for the lower border of the spleen. We all know the spleen is present in the left hypochondriac region, extending towards the umbilicus. Only palpable when it is more than 3 times its normal size. I'll explain the third method in the next video.
Okay, that's fine. Now the next one.
Palpating third method of the spleen. Why I chose to come in a different way is because some clinicians prefer to be done it from the left hand side. So right now I'm standing on the left hand side, and this is known as the hooking method or the dipping method as well. From left hand side I'll go subcostal along the left subcostal margin and hook my fingers along the mass that I feel. Now along with the hooking thing, I can feel the outer border or the anterior margin of the spleen, which has notches as well, and I can feel it extending from the left hypochondrial region and towards the lateral region. That way I know it is coming from behind the left subcostal towards the spleen, and it is a mass arising from there. Plus, I know there is no space between the
Be
left
gentle
subcostal
during
margin
this
and the mass,
examination of spleen.
and it is not arising from retrosternal organ, hence differentiating it from the kidney. So, a hooking method helps me to palpate the spleen as well. It is either done from the left hand side, can also be done from the right hand side, but it's easier from the left hand side to feel and differentiate spleen from a kidney as well.
Okay, so till now in this video we have seen regarding the hepatic span and the various methods of examining the spleen from the right side, and yes, in few cases, if required, the spleen can be also be examined from the left side. So finally, again, the final last video, the last examining video in this compilation, the second part. Then,
The
right.
differences of a splenic mass and a kidney mass. For a splenic mass, it is situated on the left hypochondrial region, extending towards the umbilicus, palpable only when it is 3 times its normal size. Whereas a kidney mass is not felt. A renal angle tenderness might be present on the posterior side. Now for palpating, differentiating both the sides. Firstly, a renal mass has to be on the left hand side, and how to differentiate both of them. First we'll go with the splenic mass. A splenic mass, we are able to feel the anterior border. It has notches. We are not able to insinuate our fingers between the subcostal margin and the splenic mass, since it is rising from behind. Along with the hooking method, we can feel that there is the posterior can be felt of the mass. On percussion, we can feel a dullness on the splenic mass. Whereas for a kidney mass, it is shaped reniform in the left lumbar region. It is billotable. Billotable meaning when I place my right palm from below, left palm from above, normal palpation, and while my fingers from behind, I'll be able to feel an enlarged kidney mass. That is billotable. It is billotable. It has a band of resonance, that is the clonic and the ileal resonance over the anterior surface, since it is a retroperitoneal organ. Hence, we'll feel the resonance over a kidney mass. Also, a kidney mass, there is space between the intercostal space and the kidney mass, so I'm able to feel in the subcostal region. It is not continuous. These are the main differences on palpation of a kidney and the splenic mass, and can be differentiated on examination as well.
Okay, fine. Now in this video, 4 videos of different methods of examining the liver, the hepatic span, spleen, various methods, and how to differentiate between kidney lump with the spleen, we have seen, and any queries regarding these visual methods we can discuss in further portions of this abdominal examination videos. So let's go to the third part, right? Thank you, Archit, once again. All of you, please join me in the third part. Thank you.